we didn't play well enough on defense, and we can make a lot of excuses and legitimate excuses for that. We're missing some key players. We have a young secondary. We had guys that didn't practice. We played the world champions coming off a bye week. We can make all kind of excuses, but I say we, me included, we gave up 36 first downs, and we didn't get it done.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
We are now the Las Vegas Raiders.
Streak snapped. The Raiders were unable to make it to 4 wins in a row after falling 35-31 to the Chiefs on Sunday. Welcome into Vegas Nation Blitz, everyone. I'm your host, Cassie Soto. Joining me to kick things off, as always, is Raiders beat writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Vinny Bonsignor. Vinny, before we break down the game, let's go ahead and hear some big news from Raiders head coach John Gruden before we dive into things.
You know, I believe Richie Incognito will be out for the season. He had season-ending foot surgery. I hate to admit that, but we've tried everything we can. Richie's tried everything he can to get back on the field. His season is over.
Well, Vinny, you heard it there. The Raiders will be without Richie Incognito for the rest of the season. But I have to ask, is this really that big of a blow for this offensive line? He hasn't played most of this season.
Yeah, and I think if there is a silver lining to this is a situation that they've been dealing with pretty much the entire season, and not just dealing with it, but really overcoming it. Denzel Good has been tremendous in relief of Richie Incognito. He's settled in, and really that's the strength right now of that offensive line is the interior of that offensive line: Rodney Hudson, Gabe Jackson, and Denzel. So if you're going to have an injury and if you're going to have a guy that's going to be out for the rest of the season, at the very least, it wasn't some shock in the middle of the season. It's something that they've been dealing with and dealing with very, very well, actually.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the game now. Vinny, Patrick Mahomes, of course, doing Patrick Mahomes things. He and the Chiefs offense just proved to be too much for this Raiders defense, sealed the deal. What went wrong there in this one?
Well, you just left Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the game and arguably the best offense in the game, just a little bit too much time. But honestly, that was a gutted Raider team afterwards. They really wanted that game. They almost got it. But now what's important is to pick up the pieces. They understand that they can compete with anybody in the NFL. They've done that twice now with the reigning Super Bowl champions. They beat them once and came close to beating them twice. That provides and creates an enormous amount of confidence. So while it was a devastated locker room because they weren't able to, finish the deal, they left Allegiant Stadium and moved forward, knowing that if they play clean football, they can compete with anybody in the NFL, and that's the main takeaway. The key now, you got to regroup and get right back at it. These are 2 winnable games coming up against the Atlanta Falcons next week and the New York Jets a week after that. Tough traveling, having to go back-to-back to the East Coast, but they can't use that as an excuse. These are 2 winnable games. They need to take care of business and get to 8 wins with 4 more games left to play.
Well, not a lot to highlight on the defensive side of the ball from this Chiefs game, but how about Derek Carr? Vinny, his command at the line of scrimmage, literally throwing a last-second touchdown in the first half of this one. He was nearly perfect in this one.
Yeah, and I think that, the football world, and I got a lot of texts from people throughout the NFL who are watching on Sunday night and really impressed by what they saw from Derek Carr, what they saw from the Raiders, the fight that they saw from the Raiders. And I think Derek Carr has taken a decisive step forward in his career. He talked about it during the offseason, the understanding that he had of this offense, the command that he had with this offense, but also the confidence that he had with the talent around him. I think that's been the biggest issue over these last few years. The talent level was just not sufficient. Nobody can win by themselves. Nobody can get it done by themselves. Derek Carr now has adequate help, and in some cases, really good help. And he's taking advantage, and he's taken his game to another level and that Raiders offense to a whole other level. That's a playoff caliber offense without question.
Stay on the winning page with fan fave Las Vegas Review-Journal. to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to lvrj.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
J.K. Dobbins tested positive for the coronavirus and were ruled out of Thursday's game against the Steelers. And Sunday's game between the Raiders and the Chiefs drew 20.2 million viewers, the most for any primetime TV show since the NFL kickoff game in September.
Let's check in on what social media had to say after the Raiders' loss on Sunday night. Here is Las Vegas Review-Journal sports journalist Leandre Fox. Dre, on the Sunday night football broadcast, camera crews panned over to Derek Carr on the bench, and this dude was plotting total world domination. He was staring into the souls of all of his enemies and his haters. He tweeted out this picture and said, "On to the next one," but the memes that came from this were pretty hilarious.
Yeah, DC was locked in on the sideline during that game, but so was the internet. Unfortunately for him, he was looking like the Undertaker. They had the Undertaker with the eyes rolling back. Derek Carr locked in. He kind of looked like LeBron James. I know he's more of a Kobe guy, but he had that LeBron James face. You know, that meme where they're just all serious and focused, locked in. Someone even said that he was going Super Saiyan when he plays the Chiefs, which is kind of accurate. He really played a really good game. Unfortunately, they didn't get the victory. But hey, the internet won because we got that meme.
Well, there was a bit of drama coming into this game, Dre, mostly coming from the Chiefs side. They didn't like that whole bus dilemma. Anyways, Chiefs fans showed up in Las Vegas. They showed up and they showed out, Dre.
Yeah, Chiefs fans were packing out the city. There's a picture of them in front of Allegiant Stadium. They're not allowed inside, but they were still out there making their presence felt. I was at the West Gate, and they were all throughout the sportsbook as well. So they were all over the city. And then they ended up winning, making Allegiant Stadium Arrowhead West. Pretty good point made there, just a little bit. They're 1-0 in that stadium. The Raiders have only won 2 games in there. They kind of get to take a little bit of domain. I don't think Raider Nation will really appreciate that one, but it's just a little bit more fuel for if these two teams meet in the postseason.
Yeah, I'm sure Raider Nation doesn't like us talking about this too much. They really don't appreciate that sea of red at Allegiant Stadium. So let's go ahead and end on a happy note here. Raiders running back Josh Jacobs, Dre, teamed up with FedEx and did something pretty cool for some local kids here in town.
Josh Jacobs teamed up with Blessings in a Backpack to feed some elementary school kids out here in Las Vegas. You might have seen the feature on that broadcast in primetime if you're not privy to being inside of Allegiant Stadium during Raiders games as you are, Miss Cassie Soto. But it was on the broadcast. You might have seen it. And it's just another charitable effort from the Raiders helping out the Las Vegas community. They keep doing this time and time again. They're really good at making themselves known in their new home.
I'm sure this is just one of many things that the Raiders are going to do. It is Thanksgiving week, so I'm sure they are going to give back to the Las Vegas community. Dre, thank you so much as always.
Thanks, guys.
Which former Raider starred in Saved by the Bell, the college years? Was it A, Lyle Alzado, B, Bob Golick, C, Lincoln Kennedy, or D, Howie Long?
Stay on the winning page with fan fave Las Vegas Review-Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to lvrj.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Our Vegas Nation podcast keep you up to date with all things Raiders. Get your week going with First and 10 on Mondays featuring Sam Gordon and Vinny Bonsignor.
Who do you count on to make a big play when you need one?
Wednesdays, Heidi Bang brings you in-depth interviews with Raiders players and personalities.
You know it's a great challenge.
On Fridays, get your dose of Raiders talk and musings from Ed Graney and Adam Hill with unsportsmanlike conduct.
Should there be any discipline? No. People are going to get it, and that's fine.
Vegas Nation, fast takes, smart coverage.
Welcome back to Vegas Nation Blitz. I'm your host, Cassie Soto, joined as always by Las Vegas Review-Journal sports columnist Ed Graney. Ed, I want to start with an article that you recently wrote for the RJ and where fans can find it at vegasnation.com, where you say that this 6-4 Raiders team is different than last year's 6-4 Raiders team. How so?
I think it is because I think you just look to the offense and the way Derek Carr is playing, Cassie. They are an elite playoff offense. Now we can talk about the defense on the other side, but I do think they're good enough offensively this year. They're finishing with more touchdowns. Last year, they were really good 20-20, had a really hard time finishing in the red zone. This year, that's not as much of an issue. So I think going forward, they're a much different team because of how Derek Carr has elevated his game in his 7th year as the quarterback of the Raiders, but also how everyone around him is playing offensively. I just think they can score with anyone in the league.
Well, going off of that, Ed, the Raiders, I know they didn't get the win on Sunday, but they have shown that they can go toe-to-toe with the reigning Super Bowl champs. I mean, you look at it, the only 2 interceptions that Patrick Mahomes has thrown this season have gone into the hands of Raiders players. What does that say?
That tells me that if there was a prop at the sports books, I would have made a fortune if I bet that prop that the only 2 interceptions this guy would have thrown were going to the Raiders. They were advantageous in those moments, but they've got to play better defense. Look, they were right there with them. Too much time left on the clock for Mahomes. It was a game the whole way you thought whoever had the ball last would win. Now the Raiders got it back, but there were 20 seconds left, and you're trying to get a chunk play there. Whoever had the ball last with over a minute left was probably going to win the game. That's what happened to Kansas City. But I'll tell you what, when you can beat the Chiefs in their house and then come back home and almost beat them here, it should give you confidence if you do make the playoffs to wherever you might have to go on the road, because that's what's going to happen. They're after going to probably go into cold weather on the road, the Raiders, if they make the playoffs. But if you look back at these 2 games, they should be able to play with anyone if they continue to play like they did the other night.
1-0 in Grapple so far this season, Ed. We'll see if they can keep that going when they go to those cold weather games, right?
Darn right. And 1-0 in Kansas City. And they also won in Cleveland, and that was a really, really cold place. So they're doing well in cold weather. And I think that looking down the road, if they make the playoffs, it's going to be somewhere like Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Buffalo, places like that, where you're going to have to show up and win a game in the cold.
Yeah, well, in Monday's press conference, Ed, Raiders head coach John Gruden said that he could give legitimate excuses for why his defense did not play well. It's a young secondary. They obviously had COVID. A bunch of players didn't practice that week because of COVID reasons. But at the end of the day, his defense led up 36 first downs. That cannot happen moving forward, and if they're trying to make a playoff push.
No, it was weird. The Chiefs actually played like the Raiders, where their drives were 5 yards at a time. Usually they're huge chunk drives where Mahomes is in and out within 4 or 5 plays and scoring a touchdown. But no matter what happened, they still gave up too much to Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. We've seen glimpses of it at Kansas City in the second half, at Cleveland, home to Denver. We've seen glimpses of them playing good defense. They've got to do it more. It can't be so far and few between. When you get to the playoffs, you're going to have to defend someone. The COVID missing the practices did not help all those guys. Obviously, when you're preparing to play Patrick Mahomes, they've got to get everyone back. They've got to get everyone healthy, and they've got to find a way to rediscover what they did against teams like Denver and Cleveland.
Well, let's talk about some new policies that the NFL has come out with. Ed, they are saying now that players will be required to wear masks on the sidelines if they're not in the game. Do we think the Raiders are going to be ready to follow these rules, Ed?
I don't know. So they need to put an ad out for someone to be the mask person on the sidelines and pay him some money to get on the sidelines, make sure everyone's got their mask on. Yeah. So the traveling parties have been limited now. Fewer guys can go on the road. Fewer people to facility, which means media and other people like that, fewer people there. And they have to wear masks on the sidelines if their helmet is not on or if they're not allowed to be substituted into the game. Coaches now cannot just go with the Andy Reid plexiglass. They've actually got to have masks on. I'm fine with it. Look at the numbers across the country. They've got to start getting as serious as possible with this thing. So yeah, and it's going to be up to the teams to enforce these things. So hopefully the Raiders, with the problems and issues they've had, they're going to have someone enforcing this on the sidelines when it comes to people wearing masks.
Final one for you, Ed. The Raiders will head on the road to face the Atlanta Falcons. I think they're 3-point favorites in this one coming into this week's matchup.
Crazy thought. Last year at this time, the Raiders were 6-4. They were going to play a really bad team, the New York Jets. They were 3-point favorites on the road going east. This year, 3-point favorites going to play what has been a bad team. They're playing a little better lately, but they started 0-5 in the Atlanta Falcons. Last year, we know what happened with the Jets. The Raiders got blown out, and it was a really, really bad performance. Can't let that happen again. If they don't let that happen again this time, and I don't think they will, then again, if you get to 7-4, you're back in that mode of going forward and heading towards a likely wild card spot.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Can't wait to have you give us the latest from Atlanta, Ed. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Cassie. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Ed. As always, so thankful for you. You know that, right? More than that Adam Hill guy. I'm a little more thankful for you.
You as well. Well, I don't know who's thankful for Adam, but we all are. In some thankful for Adam as well.
He is Ed Graney. We are going to take a quick break. We will be right back.
The answer is B. Bob Golick, the former Raiders defensive lineman, also appeared in the TV shows Coach and Dave's World.
Welcome back to the Vegas Nation Blitz. It's your podcast host here, Heidi Fang, and I'm joined with our NFL writer, Adam Hill. And the AFC West, still very interesting right now. The top two teams just played each other. The result here for the Raiders, not what they anticipated. But Adam, what does that mean for the picture that the AFC West is right now?
Well, I think we have some more clarity here. The Raiders had a chance to make it interesting with their game against the Chiefs. They could have really put some pressure on them, owned the tiebreaker. They weren't able to do that. A dramatic win, obviously, for the Chiefs really takes control of this AFC West division. So the Raiders really looking at that lead in the division, but more so looking at a wild card right now, trying to focus on just making sure they qualify in those top 7 teams in the AFC. Chiefs look like they're going to go on and win the division here. And then you've got some other teams that are just kind of playing out the string, playing for pride a little bit. We saw the Chargers, another big lead, another almost blown big lead this weekend. They were able to hold on at the end. And Denver, everybody kind of looked at them as falling apart. They were able to put things together and put Miami maybe out of the playoff picture, maybe did a little bit of help for the Raiders by getting that win. The Broncos are looked at as evil by Raiders fans, but they got some help from the Broncos this weekend.
All right. What are we looking forward to in the coming week here? Week 12 is upon us.
Yeah, well, we know about the Raiders going down to the south to play Atlanta. The Kansas City Chiefs are also traveling down to that region. They're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you know what that means. Mahomes and Brady. We've seen it in the years past with Kansas City and New England. Now Tom Brady with his new team in Tampa Bay. Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, one of the best now against one of the best all time, maybe the best two all time going head to head. That is the one all eyes will be on this weekend.
All right. Great stuff, Adam. Thanks for that report. And we'll be back, of course, with you again next week. But for now, stay tuned, everybody, as we look back on a Raider great, Tim Brown, the Hall of Fame wide receiver, and his career, 16 seasons spent with the Raiders, 17 overall, in this moment in history. When people name Raider greats, Tim Brown's name is never too far down the list of top players of all time. A Heisman Trophy winner, the Raiders took Brown in the first round of the 1988 NFL Draft. He had 43 receptions for over 700 yards in his rookie season, was a prolific punt and kick returner, and made the Pro Bowl. Still, it wasn't until his 6th season in 1993 that he topped 1,000 yards receiving. In each season thereafter, until 2001, Brown had 9 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. He set records with the franchise in receptions, receiving yards, punt return yards, and most games played with 224. He remains in the top 10 of all-time touchdown reception leaders in the NFL with 100, a benchmark he hit while playing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in his final season in the NFL. The Raiders had released Brown in 2004, and he went to play for his former coach, John Gruden, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At the time of his retirement, his 14,934 receiving yards were the second highest in NFL history, and his 1,094 receptions were third most, and his combined yards hit 19,682, which stood for 5th best in the NFL's all-time leaders at the time of his retirement. He was a 9-time Pro Bowler and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2015. Brown even signed a one-day contract with the Silver and Black in 2005 to retire as a Raider. And that'll do it for this moment in Raiders history. We'll be back next week.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Our Vegas Nation podcast keep you up to date with all things Raiders. Get your week going with First and 10 on Mondays featuring Sam Gordon and Vinny Bonsignore.
Who do you count on to make a big play when you need one?
Wednesdays, Heidi Fang brings you in-depth interviews with Raiders players and personalities.
You know it's a great challenge.
On Fridays, get your dose of Raiders talk and musings from Ed Graney and Adam Hill with unsportsmanlike conduct.
Should there be any discipline? No. People are going to get it, and that's fine.
Vegas Nation, fast takes, smart coverage.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Vegas Nation Blitz. I'm your host, Cassie Soto, alongside Raiders reporter for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Sam Gordon. Sam, you said that the key to a Raiders victory over the Chiefs would be that run game, but we did not see it come alive on Sunday. Only 89 yards on the ground, Sam. What the heck happened?
Yeah, Cassie, a little bit of a surprise there. I thought the Raiders would be able to run the ball a little bit more effectively, given that the Chiefs were at that point in the season a bottom 5 team against the run this year, allowing about 140 yards per game. But they made some adjustments, held the Raiders to 89 yards. That is their fewest in a single game since October 25th, and that loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Allegiant Stadium. And you know, as we know, Cassie, the Raiders have really found that running game during their 3-game winning streak for an average of 190.7 yards. Rather, that was the best in the NFL. But again, the Chiefs adjust. They limit that ground game. They bottle it up, and the Raiders only possess the ball 27 minutes, 55 seconds. That is not long enough against the Kansas City Chiefs, against an offense of that caliber. Almost 8 minutes fewer than they had the ball on that October 11th win over the Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. So that was really the difference. That 89 yards, their third fewest again in a game this season. The Raiders, so not good enough against the defending Super Bowl champs. They're going to definitely want to get that running game going again on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, well, they'll put this one behind them. As you say, they'll head on the road now to face the 3-7 Atlanta Falcons. Sam, this team let their quarterback get sacked 8 times on Sunday. Can the Raiders get in on this action?
Yeah, you would think so, right? I mean, the Raiders pass rush, as we know, has struggled this year, all year long. Only 11 sacks this season. That is the second fewest in the NFL. But a matchup like this lends itself to generating more pressure right now, right? And it's not that the Raiders can't generate pressure at all. Their pressure percentage of 21.4, while it's not elite, it's not exactly at the bottom of the league either. It's kind of in the middle of the pack. Cassie, what I'm really curious to see is what's Atlanta going to do to defend Derek Carr in that passing offense? Are they going to be able to get to him? Just through 10 games this season, the Falcons have arguably the worst defense in the NFL by a number of metrics, but they are dismal against the pass. Opposing quarterbacks this year, a pass rating of 105.9 against the Falcons. That's the third worst mark in the NFL. And just for context, we know how good Derek Carr has been. His passer rating this year is 108.7. So it's almost as if any quarterback that plays the Falcons this year is as good as Derek Carr. And when you actually have Derek Carr playing, I expect a big performance of him. So I imagine he'll be a big part of Sunday's game plan. And, we'll have a lot more numbers on Sunday.
Should be a good one. We're not saying they need 8 sacks, but they need at least 1 in this weekend's matchup. Sam, thank you so much. I hope you have a safe and happy Thanksgiving, and I can't wait to see you in studio this Sunday for Vegas Nation Game Day.
I'm excited too, Cassie. Happy Thanksgiving, and see you soon.
Thank you so much for watching another episode of Vegas Nation Blitz. We hope you join us this Sunday at 9 a.m. on Cox Your View Channel 14 for Vegas Nation Game Day, where we break down everything you need to know ahead of the Raiders versus Falcons matchup. That's 9 a.m. on Cox Your View Channel 14, Vegas Nation Game Day. For everything until then, head on over to vegasnation.com. We hope you have a safe, healthy, and happy Thanksgiving. For our Vegas Nation crew, I'm Cassie Soto. We'll see you next time.